storytelling type beat. The future of music. Alright, I have to be honest, I thought this whole AI music thing was a joke, a cheap gimmick, a soulless algorithm spitting out elevator music. But I made this. Every single note you're hearing, the drums, the bass, the melody, all of it. And I did it in about 30 seconds. Now, I'm starting to wonder, am I even a musician anymore? Then came my first cheap acoustic guitar and weeks of raw fingers until the calluses finally formed. I spent a decade learning theory, practicing scales until they were burned into my muscle memory, and saving every penny for studio time to record songs that, let's be real, only my mom and a few very patient friends ever listened to. The skeptic. Music has been my entire life. It started with my dad's clunky oversized headphones, listening to his vinyl collection until the grooves wore thin. Don't knock it till you've tried it. Just make one track, see what it spits out. I wanted to generate some robotic garbage and send it back with a triumphant, "I told you so." So, one rainy afternoon, drowning in skepticism, I opened up one of the big names in AI music generation. The interface was almost insultingly simple. Just a text box, waiting. This was my chance to expose the gimmick. I typed in a prompt, something intentionally vague a little just to see what the machine would do. I bet you'll be surprised. For me, music was never just notes on a page. It's the struggle, the story behind the sound. It's the absolute frustration of a creative block and the pure euphoria when a melody finally clicks. It's a human experience. So when AI music generators started popping up, I laughed. How could a machine possibly replicate that? How could a piece of code understand the heartbreak that fuels a ballad, or the adrenaline that fuels a rock anthem? I saw it as a threat. I'd see headlines about musicians protesting AI deepfakes and unauthorized vocal cloning, and it just confirmed what I already thought. It felt like the industry was under attack by something predatory, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I was convinced it was just another step toward a bland, soulless soundscape where originality gets sacrificed for efficiency. But then a buddy of mine, a video editor, sent me a link. He'd been using AI-generated tracks for his corporate gigs. Saves me a fortune on licensing, he said, and honestly, some of it is pretty good. I scoffed. Good for a corporate video. Maybe. The challenge. My mind was made up. AI music. Bad for musicians. Bad for music. End of story. He called me out. I'll admit, a tiny part of me was curious, but mostly I wanted to prove him wrong. The first creation, I leaned back, ready to laugh. The prompt was an emotional, cinematic piano melody for a rainy day scene. I hit generate. A loading bar flickered for a few seconds, and then it was done. 3 different options. I clicked the first one, put on my good studio headphones, and pressed play. And my world just tilted. It wasn't just technically correct. It wasn't just a sequence of notes that worked. It was beautiful. The piano had this delicate, melancholic touch. If it could nail a simple piano piece, what else could it do? The chord progression was simple but resonated deep. It perfectly captured that feeling of watching rain streak down a window. There was a nuance to it, a dynamic range I didn't think a machine could ever be capable of. For a second I forgot I was listening to an AI. It just sounded like music. I'd provide a seed of an idea feeling, a genre, and this thing would return with a fully formed concept. It was like having a co-writer with an encyclopedic knowledge of every musical style ever, who could spitball ideas instantly. I wasn't just generating songs, I was generating inspiration. I could take these AI stems, pull them into my own software, and start adding my own human touch. I frantically clicked the other two. Different, but just as impressive. One was more hopeful, the other more somber. For independent musicians on a tight budget, this could mean getting access to orchestral backings or custom beats, often with flexible licensing. Though you have to read the terms that it would have been impossible before. If you're a musician, a creator, or just as confused and excited about this as I am, subscribe to the channel. I need to know what you think in the comments. Is this the most exciting thing to happen to music, or the most terrifying? The AI hadn't just given me music, it had given me an interpretation of an emotion. Seconds later I had a track that could have been ripped from a lost vinyl. The bass was groovy, the drums were tight, the synth had that perfect analog warmth. My skepticism was crumbling, replaced by a dizzying sense of shock. This wasn't a gimmick, this was a tool. An incredibly powerful one. I started to see how this could smash through creative blocks, offering starting points a human might never even think of, pushing the limits. The floodgates were open. My mission to prove AI's incompetence had spiraled into a manic, late-night creative binge. I started throwing everything at it. A 1970s funk bass line with a driving disco beat and a modern synth lead. Asterisk generate, an epic, orchestral score for a space battle, with soaring brass and thunderous percussion. Asterisk generate. What came back was breathtaking, a full cinematic arrangement that would have taken me weeks. To compose and program was done in less time than it takes to make coffee. The sheer speed was staggering. allowing an artist to focus more on perfecting and personalizing their work. I felt less like I was ordering a machine around and more like I was collaborating with it. What I was hearing was blowing my mind, and I was starting to see the potential, the existential crisis. After a few days of this, the initial buzz wore off and a deeper, more unsettling feeling crept in. I had a folder on my computer filled with dozens of incredible tracks, beats, scores, songs that were genuinely moving, but I hadn't touched my guitar in days. My keyboard was collecting dust. I was just typing, and these compositions were appearing out of thin air. Recent court rulings suggest that works without meaningful human contribution owned by you and might even fall into the public domain. This has created a massive legal gray area. Major record labels are suing AI companies like Suno and you, accusing them of training their models on copyrighted songs without permission. The whole situation is a legal and ethical minefield, forcing us to ask what ownership and artistic expression even mean anymore. Was I a creator or just an operator? That fear that AI could devalue human creativity wasn't an abstract idea anymore. It was a full-blown personal crisis. An AI can generate a chord progression, but it takes a human to feel if it's right for the lyrics. AI is the new instrument, but we are still the players. The future isn't about letting AI create for us, but about what we create with it. It's about blending our human emotion with machine-generated ideas to make things we never could have before. An AI can create a perfect melody, but it takes a human to add the soul, the slight drag behind the beat, the crack in a voice. That's the stuff that gives music life. It raised a huge question about the line between the tool and the creator. A synthesizer doesn't write a song by itself. A drum machine needs a human to program the beat. But this felt different. The creative leap from a few words to a full piece of music was happening inside a black box. I started this journey as a total skeptic, convinced AI was the enemy of art. The tech is here, and it's only getting crazier. And thanks for watching. The question isn't, can AI make music anymore? The real question is, what will we, as human artists, choose to create with it? Now, I see it as one of the most powerful collaboration tools ever made. It hasn't replaced my creativity, it's expanded it. It's pushing me to think differently, to explore genres I'd never touch, and to focus on the part of music that machines can never, ever replicate. The story, the feeling, the humanity. But listening back, one question echoed in my mind. Did I make these? My whole identity as a musician was built on the struggle, the practice, that human element. This sent me down a rabbit hole. If a song is generated entirely by AI, can it even be copyrighted? My initial fear that AI was coming to replace human artists was wrong. That's like saying the camera was invented to replace painters. It didn't. It created a new art form and gave painters new tools to work with. The new reality and the big picture. It's not about replacing musicians, but augmenting our creativity. The fear of being displaced is real, especially for session musicians or those who make stock music, and the market will likely get flooded, making it even harder for independent artists to stand out. After wrestling with all of this, I landed on a new understanding. AI in music isn't an endpoint, it's a new starting line. It's a tool that's fundamentally reshaping the creative process, but the human element is still the most important part of the equation. The US Copyright Office has been clear. For a work to be protected, there has to be substantial human involvement, and that's the key. Conclusion. So, am I still a musician? Yes. More than ever. The future of music isn't human versus machine. It's human with machine. Let me know your thoughts down below.